Hey listener, thank you for joining us today. Today's guests are Laundromat and Lawnmower, two talented sisters behind one of my personal favorite webcomics, Poor People Go to Hell. In this gripping fantasy webcomic, we follow our protagonist Agnes's pursuit of the truth as she investigates the sudden disappearance of her parents and the mysterious cult that may be behind it all. We'll learn about how their mad scientist turned writer keeps the audience on their toes with her layered approach to storytelling, how their illustrator has found incredible success developing such a unique art style, how they negotiate and sometimes fight through an ultimately robust creative process, and how they've magically unlocked TikTok as a channel to market their work. They have an amazing story to tell, and we hope you enjoy the listen.
We have two people on the show today, Laundromat and Lawnmower. How are the two of you doing today?
Hello, doing pretty swell.
We are excited to have both of you. I always like interviewing duos. Why don't you two tell our guests a little bit about yourselves?
Hello, I'm Laundromat. I'm the writer of our joint webtoon series. I'm 22 years old, live in the city. We have the same exact background because we're sisters. So we both grew up in Atlanta, in the metro Atlanta area, and we both ended up going to college in downtown Atlanta. Different schools, but kind of similar paths. We always stayed close by. I'm actually an engineer. During the day, I work in a crazy mad scientist lab where just absolutely nothing goes right, and there's sometimes explosions, and but we're trying to make renewable energy, so it's pretty cool. So that's me.
And then I'm a Lawnmower. I'm the artist. I'm 20. I'm still in college. So yeah, college in Atlanta. I'm not that interesting as a person.
She plays volleyball
on the side. I just like to do
draws.
arts.
She's the comedian of the family. She cooks all the food. Actually, even though she's the youngest, she cooks all the food. It should be me, but I'm slack. Yeah.
Oh, you two are so supportive. I fight with my sister all the time, so when I see two siblings get along, I'm like, wow, I've stumbled into something really rare. So
I feel like there's gonna be a section of this episode that's just dedicated to fights. Don't you worry.
So how did you two start making this webcomic?
We started because of my sister, the writer. She came to me when I was still in high school, and she's like, we should write a TV show. At first, it was a TV show in which I was going to single-handedly animate all of it. I was like 15. We didn't have that much of a plan, but we had the name, and we had the idea.
We had the main character and the setting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we kept that for such a long time. And then when she found out about webtoons,
as a reader, I became a reader.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started thinking oh, you know what's easier than animating? Drawing stills, a bunch of them in a row. And then I came to her
eventually.
I feel like in the winter time, either 2018 or 2019. No, or 2020. I don't know. Okay, I feel like it was, and I was I mentioned webtoon. I was maybe we can make a webtoon out of our TV show. And I remember we were in the car, and she was just and that was it. Okay. And then fast forward pandemic, and I'm
we have nothing to do.
We have literally nothing to do. Okay. I'm we should make webtoon. She's no.
I said no.
Yeah, she said no.
But then I read Tower of God.
I forced her, fed her to read Tower of God. I think I had a quota for you, how many chapters you had to read a day. Because it took you a bit to get into it. But then after I don't even know how many episodes, you were hooked. And then that's when
I said, fine.
Then
I'll draw your webtoon.
So Laundromat, how did you become a writer? What drew you to writing stories?
Oh God, I don't know. I think honestly, I just kind of wanted to start this because I wanted to harness her talents of drawing. Honestly, she's frowning right now, but that's the truth. I was okay, because she wanted to go to animation school. I was okay, we got to make something. She's gonna be an animator. Obviously, we're gonna make an animated TV show where she's gonna be the single The only animator there. And so I was like, hey, like, we're gonna think of something cool. I also think we just really love like books and TV shows, and
We love media.
we love media.
We love consuming.
media.
and like talking about it. So it's like, I don't know, it just only seemed like, okay, we're obviously gonna try to do it ourselves.
So what were some things that you both liked growing up? Did you have fairly different tastes, or would you share a lot of the same things and draw your own kind of inspiration from them?
I think a lot of the same things.
I think it's the same things because you would make me watch what you watch.
Yeah. But also like it was like we had lack of access sometimes because
We didn't have cable.
we did not, yeah, we only had the movies that we had. Okay. So we'd watch them like over and over, like freaking like Ella Enchanted, like over and
Ella
over.
Enchanted.
And like we would only the books. I mean, like they
Percy
were,
Jackson.
yeah, like they're like
Harry
the
Potter.
very popular ones that of like the YA novels of like our time, but like we only had like those copies, you know. And so actually, oh my god, this is embarrassing, but we were actually homeschooled for a bit, so there wasn't even like a school library that we could go get different books. So like it was kind of like,
So yeah, we
Yeah.
consumed the same things.
And Lawnmower, when did you start drawing?
Ooh, yeah, a long time ago. I remember you always draw like when you're a kid. Everyone does. And I just don't think I ever stopped. I thought, yeah, of course I'll keep going. This is just what I do. And so I just never stopped. I think I've always tried to draw. I mean, always badly. At some point you get good. I think I started to actually think, oh, maybe I could be good at this in middle school. I was like 12 and I wasn't
Wow.
good, but I thought I was.
I feel like that's not, I feel like I didn't draw as a kid. I don't know. I don't know.
Wait, you didn't draw as a kid.
I don't know.
You stuck with the. So did you write anything before, or did you start writing with Poor People Go to Hell?
I did like for school assignments. I mean, everyone. Okay, is this gonna be another one of those things where I'm like, oh, everyone does that? Not really. I feel like 2 months ago I found like this old like story that I wrote,
You did.
Mm.
and I like forced her to read it, and I was like, whoa, like I wrote this. She's shaking her head.
It was
because
bad.
it was-
I'm seeing a lot of. I see forcing as a big pattern between you two. Maybe we'll get into it a little bit
totally.
when it comes to working style.
Yeah. You know, I thought it was pretty good for like an 8-year-old. Like, my sister begs to differ, but you know,
But it's proof that you wrote when you were a kid.
I did write things. Yeah.
So how did the two of you come up with Laundromat and Lawnmower as names?
It's actually a play off our last name. You can see our last name in this chat. And like I don't but the listeners can't. But it's like this really
It starts with L.
starts with L and it's
It's really long.
really long. And these are actually nicknames. I've been called both of our names, like by like
Mhm.
friends, like in high school or like just around. So
And you saw lawnmower in our Gmail. That's another one.
no, landworm.
Oh, what did I say?
You said lawnmower. That's your actual pen name.
So Poor People Go to Hell. It's such an interesting webtoon. I have loved it. I love the way the story is told. Lawnmower, you talked about, if you want to become a better artist, start a webtoon. I think your art style is incredible. So I'd love to start with the story genesis. Laundromat, how did you come up with the themes and the story itself? Because it gets pretty intense. So I'm like, how did you come up with this thing?
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm just curious what do you think is intense? Maybe the fire. Okay, but
Yeah.
so the themes are pretty low hanging fruit for us as people because well, there's like themes of like religion, and so we both grew up in a very religious environment, like a very Christian environment. So there's just like you could kind of just look at the Bible as like a big book of lore, kind of. Like we talk about like okay, well the word canon like comes from like the biblical canon. Like it's like a
Does it
thing.
actually?
Yeah, they're like in Catholicism they talk about like is it canon when they're talking about like theological theory. So it's kind of like just a big lore, and so there's just so much to like unpack there. There's so many like crazy people, batshit stories in there, and like very interesting themes about life. And because we're both exposed to it, I mean, we were forced in a way to learn all of that as children.
But now we know it,
But now we know it. So it was just really easy. Like, okay, we're gonna do that.
And before you went to your sister, how much of it did you have planned out or written out?
Well, so for the original TV show idea, which it was the same name, and it featured an angel protagonist.
Hmm.
It was not planned out at all, but there was an idea of like a genre and kind of what I'm was hoping to accomplish.
Mhm.
So, but then like we would just talk, and I was like, yeah, maybe this, and we came up with more.
Yeah.
And then upon the second revisit, when she agreed to do the webtoon, it was still none of
It
it.
was nothing.
But we had like the previous thing,
Hmm.
but then we ended up changing it completely because it was going to be like a TV show. It was going to be a sitcom comedy. Think about that. But it's going to be animated. Yeah. And then it's very different.
And Lawnmower, you were approached with, basically a script. How do you go from that to starting to bring these characters and designs to life? What was that process like for you?
Oh, very interesting. It was strange. We like never designed characters before. She asked me like, let's just start doing this, and I'd never done anything close. Like no comics. We weren't into anime when we were kids, which is a big start for a lot of artists. So I felt super behind because I'm like, man, everyone knows how to design characters, and I literally don't. So it was a lot of guesswork. I think their first character designs like are their character designs. There was no redoing.
There's no idea.
There was like if I could make a design, that was good enough.
Oh my god, I wish like we could like have a video and like post some of them. She would kill herself if that happened. I wish we could because they were
they're so ugly.
they're bad. They're so bad. But they're really good to look back at.
No, they're so embarrassing. I also didn't know how to do digital art. I've been like gifted an iPad for the first time in my life. And so then we were like, we'll just do digital art. And I was like, I don't know how. So
Wow.
the first drawings are super bad. But like Agnes has bangs and that stayed the same. And like one of them has like red hair and that stayed the same. It was hard, but we did it.
Yeah.
So how did you develop your art style? Your art style is incredibly unique, and I really liked how it's interesting to share, how you came up with the characters and stuff. And you said, "Oh, I didn't watch a lot of anime growing up," because I was like, I can't put my finger on like what kind of art style this is. So how did you go from nothing to like, okay, I need to create some characters if this is going to be a webtoon? Where do you think you drew inspiration from?
Maybe Pinterest. Maybe I did always draw people. As much as I say I don't draw anime, I always drew people. I tried to be realistic with it, but that's super hard. So when I was coming up with an art style,
Well, we did get into anime.
We did eventually, yes.
Eventually, okay.
This was like, but we were like adults. This is like during the pandemic.
Yeah, we'd watch like Hunter x Hunter, and that was like it.
Yeah. Well, it's actually funny that you just say that because we like constantly talk about like what does to like anyone on the street, like what are they gonna look at that and be like, what is that? To our friends.
Oh yeah, my friends think it looks very anime, and they're not into anime, so I'm super embarrassed about it. So it's interesting that you say it doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
But I did steal from anime after we started watching it. Like, I think I take the lines quality that I use. I took it from Haikyuu. And like at one point for like 3 episodes, I shaded their noses how they shade them in Weak Hero, and then I stopped. I was like, that's really good, but then I was like, no, never mind. So I think the art style changes so much. I don't understand how people read it and they're not like, this is not consistent. But I guess I just took a bunch of other people's ideas and was like, I took the parts I liked and was like, I don't know, a lot of guesswork.
It's so cool. It blows my mind how you all say that you haven't really done anything like this before, because the polish and everything looks really good. And I think another question I had for you all is, you're updating every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a lot of artists who it's just them. They need to work with something a little bit more manageable. They might do 4 or 5 panels. Both of you are putting out a substantial amount of work every 2 weeks. So what does that process look like for you two?
Okay, so I'm very flattered that you think it's a lot, because we are constantly being like, we apologize in our heads to our readers every 2 weeks. We're like, this episode is too short. But so it starts out kind of as a conversation between the two of us, just like the ideating, from the very beginning, just thinking of ideas. And then it goes into some sort of written form. There are like at least 3 physical notebooks, 2 digital notebooks,
Wow.
and 2 cloud storage locations that like when I say storage location, I mean like Google Drive, and then we have a Notion Drive as well. Like not even like the individual files. Like it could get like scratched down into. It also sometimes I use my sister as like a memory like cache, like so
keep it.
Yeah, I'm like remember that. Oh, there's also our phone
phone notes.
Yeah, so it starts there, and then at some point, and it has to go. It has to get. No, it doesn't necessarily have to get. Like, into a Google Drive like outline, but sometimes we change it. Like the past couple of episodes that we've written, we're just kind of like, okay, I know what I need to do, and it gets like very roughly outlined. Then it goes and I panel it out. As a part of the writing, I like say like this panel's gonna have this and like this shot, and I put that in like a shared Notion, and then that's when she takes a look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And now she'll take it away in this explanation.
And then I draw it.
No,
I don't know. You make it pretty easy. You write like shot of foot walking.
This is where the fights start. Come on.
Oh, this is where the fights start. I forgot. Yeah, she sends me the completed. Like she's told me everything I need to draw, and then I read it and I say, "Ew, I hate it." No. I say, "Ew, I don't like this line." I'll go in and I'll add emojis, like a little frowny face emoji, and I'll be like, "This was."
We have
cliche.
these like joke like meme emojis that are like these little like frownies,
or like little X's, and I'll just say no. I won't give like this is why or this is what you should do. I just say I don't like it. And then we fight again because she goes, I like it.
And then we have like a whole, well, sometimes like I'm like, okay, we can change it. But then I don't actually change it, but she just keeps drawing anyway.
Yeah.
And then like we'll work with the constraint of like it has to be that same panel. I just have to change the cringe, apparently, dialogue. and then like we'll edit that like the day of like posting sometimes. I'm like, okay, like we know like that's got to be changed to something. We must master our English and come up with something.
Like 10 hours before we post.
Yeah. So, but then I guess like during the conversation, she has to approve like everything that's going like into the broad idea. It's not just like week to week. So that's where like a lot of discussion
it's a chaotic process.
Yeah. And then the day of is like where usually all the work happens because we're deadline driven people apparently. So get up, I usually drive over to her place and
then we just work.
Until we post. So then there's like all social media prep, and then there's lettering. I do all the typesetting and the lettering. And then there's the editing and proofreading. Actually, so we upload our buffer onto Patreon, really without edits. Then we'll re-download it the day of that it has to go out on the real webtoon. And we will like want to rip our eyes out. Like we'll just like sometimes the mood, so I'll get there, I'll be like, okay, let's go. The mood usually like it starts high, and then like as soon as we read like what we already published, like it drops like precipitously like off a cliff. The mood, we're like, oh no, like this is horrible.
We can't post
like
this.
We cannot post. Or like we're just like, or in my head I kind of silently think like this is the episode. Like this is the episode where they all
leave.
And then we change
and then we fix it.
I don't know. The rest of the day fixing it. And then like, oh my gosh, one of our recent episodes where there was a text conversation happening between Copernicus and Agnes, we downloaded off of Patreon, we reread it, and then we were like, by the time we got posted, we had deleted 50% of the chapter. Just panel gone, panels gone, panels gone. Like not adding anything, just deleting. We're like, fix this. So yeah. And then
what's been the best part of the two of you working together?
You think
okay. I'll answer the best part. I think the best part is I don't have to do all the work. I don't have to write. I don't have to panel. I don't have to letter it. I don't even have to upload it. I don't understand how Webtoon works. I don't know the file sizes. I literally just draw it. And I feel like a lot of people complain about the work, and I feel really bad because they're by themselves. And they're like, I can't keep up. And I'm like, I can, because I don't do all the work. So I think that's the nicest part, is just having someone be free labor for you.
Well, that's literally
It's like free labor exchange.
dude, the free labor that I'm getting, it's like even more like she's drawing it and she's like, my hand hurts. I'm like, no, my little human robot, like sit, like stop, like ice it, like like the writing's easy. I just like sit around. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea.
Mm.
And the lettering is therapeutic, honestly. So,
Okay, what do you think the best part is?
the best part is obviously having a little human robot slave
okay.
sister to do all my work. No, I'm kidding. I think it's the creative differences working with someone else, because if I publish this by myself, it would be so much worse.
It'd be cringe.
Yeah, that's the word that she constantly uses. And so I've come to believe that it would be cringe if I publish this by myself. Like, I don't know, she helps me avoid, like we can avoid lots of pitfalls, lots of cliches, lots of things that just like I would regret later. So there's so many things that I've published out into the world, be that Instagram post, be that Twitter post, be that just like speaking in front of people, like giving like just any time that I think about that a year later, I'm like, oh my God, that was just no. So having someone there is just great. So now, I mean, we've been publishing this for almost 2 years. I don't have to look back at it and go, actually it's surprising that I don't hate it.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
It's because of her. It's because of her. There's nothing embarrassing in there, hopefully.
So you have a 2-week process. Of that, how much of it is discussion and development of the story and script versus writing and putting the panels out? Like, what's your time split, would you say?
The discussion happens.
Sometimes it happens while I'm drawing.
Yeah, it happens while you're drawing. Well, it mostly happens like in our free time. So we'll hang out, like we'll get dinner and we'll just talk. Or like,
or you pick me up from school.
Yeah, and we'll just be driving and we'll just talk about it. When we went on vacation, we kept joking that we had brain rot because we went on vacation, and the whole time we kept being like, that's good inspiration.
Like, write that down.
we would like look at the scenery and be like, oh, take a picture. And we both knew what take a picture meant, because like to reference picture, or we'd look at people's like outfits and be like, oh, it's
a good outfit.
Yeah. Like, you know, it's just anything is just game. And so
maybe 24/7.
Yeah,
24/7 talking.
Yeah, just talking about it. So it's not structured at all. I feel like if it was structured, that's when the bad ideas happen, actually. Because that's what we did when we first started. I forced myself to write a detailed outline of the whole like first like season, quote unquote, and almost none of it is usable anymore. All of it has been scrapped because I like forced myself to sit down and finish it. Like, I mean, with her, just like write. So just thinking, I think on the way to work, and I hold ideas in for a really long time. Sometimes I forget to tell her about these things.
Yeah, then she'll talk to me as if I know what she's talking about. But I was thinking for the whole 2 weeks, like I'm drawing.
Yeah, she's just drawing. It takes me about 30 minutes to panel the episode.
So you get 30 minutes to panel it, and I take the rest of the time.
The whole time. And then it takes me about 3 hours to typeset and letter. But I honestly don't do any work. Like, let's like she's like free labor. I'm like, dude, we're adding this up. It's like literally 3.5 hours every 2 weeks. Like, no, just on upload days.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work, but all I have to do is click upload file. Like, that's not that much work.
So you put all this work in to creating an episode. When you published your first episode, I mean, you're at 20,000 subscribers, which is incredible. But, you know, what did you have in mind? What was your expectation when you put that first episode out there?
I feel like we were honestly,
we were underestimating and overestimating.
Yeah.
Like, it was part of me was like, we're gonna have 1 million subscribers. But another part of me was like, if we get 100, I'll be satisfied. You
used to say that. Like, we could quit if we got 1,000.
Yeah.
She used to say that. And I would look at her like, no.
I thought that was a lot of people.
Yeah. And then I like, obviously all the ones they promote, we didn't understand that like there's a whole under iceberg on, you know, the Webtoon app of comics that aren't getting promoted. So the only ones you see are the tip of the iceberg, and they all have like thousands and thousands and thousands. So we were like, okay, yeah, like
this could be it.
it's easy. So like on the one hand, overestimating for sure, and underestimating as well. It's kind of I still don't believe like 20,000. I have to like look up stadiums that fit. I do that sometimes, and I'm like, I don't get it. I just sit there. I'm like, my eyes start to twitch. I'm like, I don't get it.
Do you have a goal of where you want to be for subscribers, or are you just like, we're at 20,000, we're enjoying the process and the story, let's just keep a good thing going?
We say, what is it, 100K and we'll get tattoos.
Oh yeah, we'll get tattoos
of the comic, like a character or something.
No, I was gonna get the symbol.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna get that. So maybe 100K is a goal. Except I'm scared of getting tattoos, so maybe it's not a goal.
Yeah, she's afraid of ink poisoning.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? I've never heard of ink poisoning.
Ink poisoning, yeah. It like gets in your bloodstream and
wow.
things happen. I don't know.
Wow. Didn't know about that. What were the biggest things that you all learned in this process? I mean, it's been 2 years of doing this now, which is incredible. What are the biggest learnings for each of you?
Okay, there's like a lot. There's a lot. I learned how to letter. I'm on like my little soapbox about lettering and the importance of it and how it really is the game changer. And she doesn't care.
I don't care about lettering.
She doesn't care one single bit. And I'm always like, change it a little bit. Seriously. Okay. I've learned how to do that. I started on like Photoshop and it was horrible looking and blech. But learned that. Also, well, I'll let you talk about the skills and then I'll talk about the sappy stuff after.
Okay. I learned how to use layers in digital art. Well, I guess I was just learning digital art in general, but I remember the first 2 chapters, like I literally just didn't understand layers. Like I did, but I wasn't using them efficiently, and it's so bad. We had to literally redo the first 5 chapters, like redraw, because they were so bad. So I think I definitely learned how to work digital art.
Yeah.
Which is a useful life skill.
Yeah. I feel like, I can't even say this seriously. We learned a lot about ourselves. Okay, come on. Okay. So, like,
tell me, what did you learn?
We learned that we can accomplish things, and she's rolling her eyes. And we can grow. I think it's taught me that, like, there's always room for improvement.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
And like, not in like the always be hard on yourself, like must always improve, but like if you're starting somewhere, like it really is kind of a skill. Most things are skills. I think that's what taught me. Most things are skills, not talents. They just, you need to put in time. And it's like, it's really nice that the weird way this is structured, like we have a deadline every 2.5 weeks. It's not overwhelming, but it keeps us accountable. It keeps us progressing. And then, all of a sudden it's been 2 years and all this time has been put in, and it almost feels like it's just like a natural part of our lives, and we've improved our skill, like all of our things, like all the different components so much. And I mean, looking back at the first episodes, how they looked, dialogue, like just, oh my God, like it was just, oh my God. So I definitely take that into like a lot of different parts of my life. I like used to like, I don't know, any part that I used to have like lots of anxiety about various things, not being, good enough at various things. And I feel like this is like, no, like it's not about being intrinsically good. It's about putting in time and getting better, because no matter who you are, if you start off naturally bad at something, you will get better. And it was just a comforting thought. I really like that philosophy.
Yeah, sure.
I feel like
that's
this has taught me that.
I love that. That helps me as well personally. I'm like, I can't be this bad at this thing forever, right? I got to get better at something. So I definitely believe in that. You both launched a Patreon recently. You talked about it earlier. Congrats on doing that. That's a big step. And you have patrons that have started to come in. What was the thought behind, hey, we're going to put a Patreon together?
I guess the thought was maybe we can make $4 a month.
I feel like it kind of seemed like a thing like everyone, was it FOMO? So everyone else
FOMO.
does it. We reached like a certain subscriber count.
We
And
reached
we were-
10K.
And then we were like, okay, like what does this mean? I don't know. I think we had an identity crisis. Maybe it was an identity crisis.
We're like, we're not like everybody else.
And then like we need to. But also we realized, okay, we had a buffer. We don't currently have a buffer. We had a buffer. And we were like, oh, that's just like free for us, you know.
Free extra chapters.
Extra content. Like, okay, that'd just be simple enough to do that for people.
And are there things you want to try with the Patreon, or are you like, we're gonna start with, you can read a few episodes ahead and just kind of keep focusing on telling the story and continuing the story?
We talk about actual things that we want to give the patrons all the time.
We're like, we're gonna give them all these comics and all these extra drawings, and we're gonna let them take a poll,
And
and
it's
then
like,
we'll draw
bruh.
whatever they want. But we can't do it. We thought it would be so easy, like one extra drawing a week. Like, come on.
Yeah, we did have lots of ambition at the beginning where she would draw a drawing for them every week, and we'd publish more early chapters than they currently get.
Mhm.
And there was something else. There was like a bunch of drawings that like they were gonna get. a lot of
Promise
art
drawings.
that are like, okay, no, like this is not sustainable. I like to write sometimes. She always like tells me to stop
Mhm.
writing very long posts on there, just like about like lots of whatever we're thinking about. So you know, I like to think they're reading something into the hair, getting a look into the harebrained mind. But other than that, we have a bunch of unpublished series on there
That's
to
true.
be published. That's on
Ah.
there,
But
but
I don't think we have any future goals.
no future goals. I don't think. Maybe get a couple more.
Maybe like $6 a month.
Maybe, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Can we talk about your TikTok? I think that's what everyone has. I've been dying to know more about it. How did you come up with? Yeah, we should start putting this stuff on TikTok.
So this is so embarrassing. Before we did the webtoon, I did have a personal TikTok that had done really well.
She was already TikTok famous.
Okay, no, I was
Wow,
not.
damn.
I just understood. I feel like the algorithm, if that doesn't sound pretentious.
It does.
So when we first started it, there was this like, okay, how are we gonna get people to read this? And I was like, guys, I know how to work TikTok. I've done it before. I'll just do it again.
She
It'll
did
be
not
so
know how to
easy.
work it at first.
Okay.
At first, it did not.
But I do think the main reason was subscribers. We wanted people to read it,
Yeah.
and we thought TikTok was definitely the easiest.
Because like,
way.
okay, so we overestimated things, right? And then we got dumped into
We only have
ice-cold
10
waters
subscribers.
under the glacier, right? And now we're here in the frozen water, and we're like, oh crap, we have to figure out how to market this ourselves. Like, it's not gonna come for free. And then
So just TikTok was the
Yeah.
answer.
What would you say makes your TikTok work? Like, why do you think you've been able to get such a following on there for your webcomic? I've seen a few different webtoon, webcomic TikTok accounts. Yours is one of the largest kind of audiences I've seen. So what do you think the kind of secret is?
Oh, I don't know. I would like to
Because
say
of
it's
your
my
niche.
personal charm. Oh, it's because, okay, I think when you're trying to make a TikTok account and you're trying to grow it, you have to have a niche. You have to have like a thing that you talk
Mm.
about, and that's like your thing. And like it can't obviously be too boring of a thing, but nothing too broad, if that makes sense.
yeah.
Mm.
So I think our niche, I picked it after making a few videos and seeing what worked.
Yeah.
But I trend more towards webcomic. I feel like I make a lot of videos that are like, you should make a webcomic, you know?
Mm.
Those do well.
Those do really well because people want encouragement. Who doesn't want encouragement?
Yeah.
And then I make a lot of TikToks about our webtoon, but like certain aesthetics. Like if I make a TikTok and it has like a drawing of fire in it,
Yeah. I
People
was
go
gonna say
crazy.
fire. Like a fire is like we're TikTok's dry, you know, just fire. Make
Fire.
a fire one.
So I think our niche is like, oh, like evil characters, and like also you
but
should
then
make a
also
webtoon.
there's like this romance between
Oh,
Yeah.
people also, I think one of our niches is we have a romance between a priest and a normal girl.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people go crazy for that. So I
Yeah.
just kind of stick with those 3, hop back and forth.
Yeah.
Hopefully get more, but
yeah.
those really helped it grow.
Oh, and the first thing that made it go off.
What, you?
The
Our
villains.
first viral TikTok, I drew a drawing of my sister as a villain, and people went crazy. I don't know why.
That's like what got us like the first like bit of followers, and I think it got us like 100 subscribers, and we like screamed.
We went crazy.
Way to market your own comic.
Yeah, I think people like.
Thanks.
I was gonna say like I think that there's also a niche where it's like a style of video. It's like you or me like interacting with art. Like you'll be in the camera, and then it'll like flip to the art. You know. That's
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
It's like a style that
It's
like,
personable.
yeah, like you like we've got going. We do, and not a lot of artists do because they just stick it to like the screen only.
I mean, it's super fun. So props on getting that channel going, and like you have a lot of really funny TikToks in there. So I spend a good amount of time scrolling through and being like and laughing. I spend way too much time on TikTok, but I don't think I'm too ashamed about it. So I got a few fan questions as well. Are you ready to go through a few of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it.
This is from Zedjumps. I definitely botched that, but how did you think of the names of your characters?
Okay, so half of them are biblically inspired for like obvious reasons.
Biblically stolen.
Biblically stolen. And then Holland was a random name generator for sure. Theo was
His name is French. It's a French like,
and he had to. It's just like like generic like kind of webtoon like hot boy name. Okay, Theo. Good. Copernicus was on my list of names, like you know how people have like list of names in their phone app, but it was like the dog section. Okay, it was like for future dogs, but then I was like, well, what if we flip that around? And then Agnes we spent a long time agonizing over her name because
she's the main character.
She's the main character, of course. So we wanted it to be unique, but not too unique. You know, like where you know those names where people are trying to be like unique. And like it's like okay, like Copernicus, you know, obviously trying to be too unique in that one. So but then we didn't want it to be like too simple, you know, like a very commonplace name. So we went with an old lady name instead. Classic, you know, no one has those except for old ladies. They're not reading it. They're not reading the webtoon. Well, they could be. If so, thank you. So yeah, that's what went into it.
The next question is from Leaves of a Water Lily. And who is your favorite character?
Okay, so mine is Benji. Benji is recently introduced, and you don't know a lot about him, but oh my god, do I love him. I love drawing him. I love everything he says. I love his name. He's an INTP. I'm an INTP. I love Benji.
Okay, and I think mine is Copernicus. Not also maybe because we have the same MBTI, but you know.
What's Copernicus's MBTI and yours?
ENTP. Yeah. So yeah, I really spiritually kind of, but also like the angels as well. They're just cool. They're in the background. You know what they're doing.
And last one is from Kai Yasusak. Who is the most interesting character to develop?
Oh my god.
I was thinking there's so many that we literally haven't introduced. So we can't say them.
Okay, I think I am just like here for Copernicus getting developed. That's gonna be great. Wolfgang is highly anticipated by the TikTok.
Oh my gosh,
we keep making
Mm.
spoiler TikToks but like not explaining. And so then people are like confused. That's gonna be great. That's gonna be a challenge actually to write. But that's gonna be
Don't
great.
think about that.
Yeah.
I also think Holland. I like Holland's development.
Yeah.
That you have no one's seen.
And Agnes, like it's just wow. We're like saying a bunch of
We're
nothing.
saying all of them.
We're saying like we're just saying a name. Like I don't even the listeners probably don't even listen to this podcast. They're just saying a name and then we're just saying, oh, it's gonna be so great. We're not even explaining why. We're not even saying anything, but just
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
You are selling the shit out of the rest of your series. I'm so fucking excited. I want to like end this interview now and just go back and like read.
I'm like, wait.
Before we go to our rapid fire questions, what do you two have in store for your future? What do you want to do with the future of this webtoon? Are there other stories you want to tell? How do you think about that?
Oh my god.
Okay. Well, for my future, I do foresee staying as a webtoon artist for my sister, I guess. I would hope to have like a normal person job and draw, because if I could do both, I could do both, you know? And I don't have to write, and I don't have to waste a lot of time uploading it for myself. So I think I could potentially have a job and draw on the side. And then once we finish, if we finish this one,
Yeah.
we have like 4 other webtoons.
Yeah. We'd have so many and like just waiting in line
Mhm.
to be made. I don't even know, like realistically with the rate that we're making this one at, how old are we gonna be
I
once
don't
it's
know,
done?
like 60.
Yeah.
I mean, we're submitting something to the call to action, and that's a feature.
yeah,
Mm.
that's something. That's all. That's just like, oh, that could be something.
Do you have a little bit of a teaser of what that webtoon is about?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. So that one is very different than Poor People Go to Hell. Poor People Go to Hell is like set in the real world, quote unquote. This one is not. This one is set in like a complete. Technically, you wouldn't know this from reading the chapter, but it's set on a different planet. It's about nature spirits who live on a different planet. And they have their, okay, she's not liking my explanation of it, so I don't even know how to describe it. It's about the Society of Nature Spirits.
Society.
It's a
That's what you sound
society.
like.
And they have, I just don't even know.
They like fight each other. They like beat the shit out of each other.
It's about a society of nature spirits on a completely different world, and they have like this rule. Well, they've been closed off to like the rest of their planet for like, I don't know, generations, ages, an unspecified amount of time, and they have this kind of rule so that
You're gonna make it too long.
I don't make it too long. I don't even know how to describe it. It's about nature. It's about chaos. I can tell you the themes, and it's about what happens when like someone defies like a fundamental rule like in a society.
I like it. I'm excited. Are you ready to close things off with a rapid fire?
Yeah, let's go.
Rapid fire questions. First one, which fictional characters best describe your personalities?
Okay. Louise Belcher. And because my sister tells me that I'm like her, so that's why I'm gonna say that.
Mhm.
And if I had to say another one, I'd go with Eloise Bridgerton from Bridgerton because she's like, she's great. She's my favorite out of all of them.
Okay, and then for me, I would say Kenma from Haikyuu, because he's an INTP and I'm an INTP.
Wait, sorry, who from Haikyuu?
Kenma,
Oh, Kenma, okay.
love him. And then also Nick Miller from New Girl.
Wow, one real world, one animated. I love it. What 3 webcomics would you take with you on a desert island?
I'm taking Tower of God. We're big Tower of God fans, already mentioned that. I'm taking Purple Hyacinth. I love that one. And I'm taking Your Wings and Mine. That's another Canvas one. It's really good.
I'm taking The Reaper and the Waiting. It's so beautiful. Love it. I'm taking Tower of God. It's so long.
It is really long.
And I'm taking Weak Hero.
Ah, okay. If you could pick any creator to hang out with or get dinner with, who would it be?
Okay, for me, we are both obsessed with the anime and the manga. We read and watched Bungo Stray Dogs. So I'm totally getting dinner with the creator Kafka Sagiri.
And then I'm totally getting dinner with the lady who wrote Fullmetal Alchemist, because I watched it and she put so much religious symbolism in it. And oh my gosh, I would just like shake her and I'd be like, tell me why? Why did you do that? Like, what are your thoughts?
What is your favorite scene from any webtoon or comic that pops into your head?
Okay. She mentioned that she read Weak Hero. I forced her to read that.
No, I forced you to read that. Are you kidding?
No, I swear.
That was me.
Okay, but there's a scene from there where the main character, Gray, I don't know if you've read it.
I haven't read it.
But he beats the shit out of this other guy with a Coke can and a belt. So much that like the guy fears Coke cans for the rest of the series. This is like not even a comedy. Like it's serious. He seriously fears Coke cans. It's really funny. But it's so badass. It's totally my favorite.
And then my scene is from Tower of God. I don't know if you want spoilers or if you've read it.
You can go for it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Spoil it. Spoilers.
There's a scene like way late, like 400 episodes in, where he has to beat a ranker. He like goes to like
And that's
an
that's
arena.
important.
That's like a really big deal. Like no one's ever done it. Okay. And then he does it. And that's the scene.
That's it.
That's the scene. But I love it so much.
And then the final one, if you could hang out with a fictional character, who would it be?
Okay, we're watching Spy Family right now, so it would be the little girl Anya, because I just babysit her. We walk in the park. I don't have to say anything. Just read my mind. Like,
And then I would hang out with Ryuk from Death Note.
no.
Wow. Wow.
I think it'd be funny.
You could not pick two more opposite characters. to hang out with.
Wait, yeah.
I didn't think about that.
One of them literally kills people, and one of them is like a sweet little
Child.
baby.
Listener, please check out Poor People Go to Hell. Please check out Laundromat and Lawnmower on Patreon as well. And Laundromat and Lawnmower, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story. Poor People Go to Hell is incredible. Your story and your process is even more incredible. If you're out of ideas, I would definitely read a webtoon just about the two of you making webtoons.
No.
So that's something to keep in mind. But really enjoyed having you here today and learning from you. So thanks for taking the time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any feedback or want to be featured as our next guest, please write to us at pixelsandpanelspod@gmail.com. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, like, or give us a 5-star rating. See you all next week.